One Zambia, One Nation. Thank you so much for joining us on Zanis News. To present it, I'm Michelle Olwinda. The headlines. Water shortage hits rural parts of Chadiza. Early distribution of fertilizer elates BRE. Choma DC happy with drug supply. And real estate industry vulnerable to money laundering. The news in detail. President Hakainde Hichilema says Zambia is ready to enhance its economic diplomacy in its quest to achieve government's economic transformation agenda. President Hichilema stressed the need to deepen relations with other countries in an effort to exploit investment and business opportunities. The president was speaking at State House when he received credentials from ambassadors and high commissioners designated to Zambia from 7 countries. Bupe Sendre has the details in the following report.
President Hakainde Hichilema has received credentials from ambassadors and high commissioners from 7 countries, namely Angola, Philippines, Romania, Uganda, Iran, Australia, and Gambia. Addressing the envoys, President Hichilema called for continued partnerships to better the lives of people in Zambia and the 7 countries.
People to people, business to business, G to G, government to government. Let's continue watering these relationships. So, because they create a base for us to do many more things, such as what? Our foreign policy as a new UPND, New Dawn government, is anchored on economic diplomacy. Very simple. So, but once we're people-to-people relationships, which are warm, business-to-business, government-to-government, then we can lay that basis for, if you like, the economic diplomacy that we foster. We would like to strengthen the bonds that we have, obviously at the economic level, to support the social side of our populations.
The head of state also stressed the importance of peace, security, and stability in the region as a prerequisite to economic development of any country.
We can not achieve these you have said, the things you have said, these the things I have said, if we have no peace, security, and stability. Peace, security, stability as a prerequisite to development, as a condition precedent to development. It's of absolute necessity.
Meanwhile, the diplomats pledged to strengthen and deepen bilateral and multilateral relations with Zambia for mutual benefits.
Mr. President, we are happy with the partnership between Your Excellency and our President. We are giving great steps, concrete steps. We are happy to see Zambia coming into our oil sector. We are happy to see free entry from both sides, which will increase our cooperation, friendship. We are sister countries.
Romania is ready to contribute to deepening the Euro-African cooperation and foster a partnership between equals defined by mutual respect, shared ownership, and joint responsibility.
Later, President Hichilema swore in Winnie Chiwesakunda as Zambia's ambassador to Germany and Percy Chanda as Zambia's High Commissioner to India with a call to enhance economic diplomacy.
Investments here, same with India. And they come and partner with us, not for primary extraction of products, minerals, others, but for value addition. Jobs for our young people, business opportunities for our young people. That's what you're going to Germany for, nothing else. That's what you're going to India for, nothing else. Absolutely. We need to get from India the strides they are making, because India, not long ago, was generally defined like us. But today is different. You're going to see it.
President Hichilema continues to pursue a foreign policy focused on economic cooperation, trade, and investment. Bupe Sende for Zanis in Lusaka.
Most rural parts of Chadiza district in Eastern Province has been hit by a critical shortage of water which has affected people and livestock as most water sources have dried up. District Commissioner Raphael Piri has attributed the water shortage to lack of dams and boreholes in the area. Jubel Zulu has more in the following report.
They say water is life, but the absence of this precious commodity in most rural communities of Chadiza district is affecting the people and their livestock. Most sources of water, such as streams and wells, have dried up, forcing people and their animals to share water at the only available water points. District Water Development Officer Masuzio Piri has given an update on the water situation.
Currently, we are standing at 65% as the entire district having access to clean drinking water. There are still some other places where we are lacking, and there is need for introduction of new boreholes as well as dams. Currently, as a district, we have 21 dams, of which 9 are fully operational. They are working. They may need 1 or 2 issues that need to be resolved, which may need vegetation control as well as desilting. Other than that, we also need new dams so that it can actually improve the water utilization in the district.
The district administration is equally concerned with the state of affairs and have made an appeal.
Like right now, this is just about 2-3 months after the rain season. There's completely no running stream anywhere. What does this mean? It means the best solution for water in Chadiza is water harvesting. We need dams, we need boreholes.
Jubel Zulu, Zanis, Chadiza District, Eastern Province.
And as Zambia prepares to be part of the global trade through the African Continental Free Trade Area, various interventions are being put in place to support the initiative. One such initiative is the establishment of the Mwami Muchinji One-Stop Border Post. The border post, with support from the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, is already aligning to the objectives of addressing the barriers that affect trade facilitation. More in the following report. Logistics and transport plays a vital role towards facilitating seamless movement of goods, services, and people across borders and acts as a lifeline for international trade. This sector is also key towards promoting intra-regional trade. It is on this premise that the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, is supporting the development of aid for trade programs along the major regional corridors, including the establishment of one-stop border posts. Players in this sector are happy that the initiative is assisting in enhancing trade relations among countries.
Because of that time, the more we move fast, because we can move maybe 3 trips or 4 trips a month, depending on how many vanwaki katundwali piria. Yeah, ngakhala fast ngati like clinker sometimes we find it is already created. We just
kuona kuti zambiri zasintha bwino kwambiri chifukwa chakuti ndinaonanso chikwangwani china chake choti maiko awiri boda imodzi kutanthauza kuti zinthuzo anthu akugwirira ntchito limodzi. Muone pano pa sitiku tikalowa kufika ngati achita paki matraki pano sikubwereranso kupita side ya Malawi ngati nditsa passport, koma zonse zikungothera kuti zikungothera side yomwe ino ya Zambia.
An improved border system is key in supporting the operations of customs clearing agents, who are a vital stakeholder in facilitating cross-border trade by handling the documentations needed to gain clearance for goods arriving and leaving the country.
In this border, the new border, everyone, there is Malawi and Zambia working together. If they want to do physical inspection, they go together to inspect one truck. If they want to work on a thing, it's now together. It's a togetherness border, one unit. Yes. So what has changed is the facility itself. It is a good facility. At receiving officers, they never had officers.
Currently, the border handles over 30 trucks per day, but government is optimistic that with upgraded infrastructure, more trade volumes will be handled at the facility.
that our relationship with Mozambique and Malawi and Tanzania, these are the three states we share borders with. But in this particular case, the one-stop border post with Malawi is serving its formal interaction as intended.
The Mwami Muchinji border, which is a 24-hour port of entry, is a key regional transit route for Nakala Corridor that covers the eastern and southern African region. Michelo Lubinda for Zanis in Chipata District, Eastern Province. Meanwhile, the reconstruction of Buteko Market in Mufulira District, which was gutted in 2018, will soon be completed. Mufulira Mayor Tanile Kamanga says about 90% of the works have so far been done on the project. Rachel Chisulo gives us the details.
Construction of the over 16 million kwacha Buteko Market in Mufulira District on the Copperbelt Province is nearing completion. Mufulira Mayor Tanaeli Kamanga says the market, which is being built at a total cost of 16,997,544 kwacha, will be reopened by September 2023, as about 90% of works have so far been done.
We've done everything, but what we've now started, I think, shops. We've got enough space. We'll be able to put our shops within those spaces that were left.
The project includes construction of green and dry market shelters, an ablution block, a refuse bay, and shops, among other works. The displaced traders are anxious to have the market quickly completed. We would be grateful if the market is quickly completed because we're not comfortable here. We would like to go back to Buteko Market. We have no shelter. It would be good if we moved back before the rainy season. We would like to go back to Buteko Market. Buteko Market was gutted in July 2018, displacing traders and destroying goods worth millions of kwacha. Rachel Chisulo, reporting for Zanis in Mufulira.
The Barroso Royal Establishment, BRE, has praised the United Capital Fertilizer Company for the timely delivery of D-compound fertilizer to all the 16 districts of Western Province. The Prime Minister, Ngambela Mkela Manyando, says the early delivery of fertilizer under the Farmer Input Support Program, FISIP, will improve food security in the province. Darlington Kabambe now reports.
The Barroso Royal Establishment has commended the United Capital Fertilizer Company Limited for distributing 5,650 metric tons of D-compound fertilizer under the Farmer Input Support Program in all the 16 districts of Western Province. Barroso Royal Establishment Ngambela Manyando Mukela said the timely delivery of the D-compound fertilizer will improve food security in the province.
We are delighted to note that United Capital Fertilizers Zambia Company Limited have beaten their target of delivery of D-compound to Western Province. Fertilizer is an important commodity in a developing country like Zambia, more so Western Province, because it is a catalyst for agricultural development.
And Jase Kabaye Jr. is Western Province Regional Coordinator for the United Capital Fertilizer Company Limited.
We have been contracted as United Capital Fertilizers to distribute 5,650 tons in all the 16 districts in Western Province. The information that we want to bring to you is that we have recorded 100% completion of the delivery of the 5,650 metric tons into Western Province. This has been encouraging on the part of the government for releasing the contracts early, and I think they recognized the plight of and the struggles that we had in previous years, especially in our province here where the road infrastructure is bad, and once you hit the rainy season, it's very difficult to get the commodity to the farmers on time.
Meanwhile, Kalabo District Agricultural Coordinator Nilimo Mudenda said the timely delivery of the D-compound fertilizer will give farmers an opportunity to plant early.
The district has 600 beneficiaries on the FISIP program. So we are simply awaiting for seed and urea, then we are good to go. Agriculture is time-bound. Last season, we didn't have a good season. Our rains were erratic. Our rainfall pattern was erratic. So the fact that we've received the inputs on time gives the farmer an opportunity to plant early and make use of these inputs early enough. And that is one way of mitigating the effects of climate change.
Darlington Kawambe reporting for Zanis News in Mongo District, Western Province.
And on empowerment, several women clubs in Lufwanyama district have held government for its continued support in improving livelihoods. This follows the handover of different empowerment packages to women groups by Lufwanyama Member of Parliament, Kenny Siachisumo. Agrippa Silumbwe witnessed the handover and now reports.
They are part of Food Security Park beneficiaries in Lufwanyama district for wetland farming season. Compound D, urea and maize seeds are among the farming inputs delivered so far, and distribution exercise has commenced.
The new Dawn government is supporting the farmers with the inputs which are meant to help them produce enough food to make them food secure at household level. The Food Security Pack has three components, which are rain-fed, wetland, and alternative livelihood. The wetland component is implemented during the dry season and takes advantage of available water bodies for irrigation and watering. This year, Lufwanyama is implementing the wetland for the second time. With these few words, I officially open the wetland input distribution.
Program implementers are eager to finalize the distribution exercise in no time.
In Lufwanyama district, we have a total number of 800 beneficiaries. So each beneficiary is entitled to 2 bags. And we've also received orange maize for 400 beneficiaries and an assortment of vegetables and chemicals. We are scheduled to finish by Wednesday or Thursday.
Beneficiaries are grateful to government.
Twalombokwe batu kupyunga kwenu kupitilishe na kulibabo bambi pakutifwe lero tulesumuka abo abakalu tulipantangire na baba kajoina na bomukabo ofweko koti nifyoperefe mwatofwa.
Early distribution of farming inputs is proved to be an effective measure in boosting agriculture production and food security, especially at household level. Reporting, I'm Agrippa Silumbwe, Kapabot Province.
We continue with the news. The Muslim Society has continued to supplement government efforts in the provision of social protection programs to the less privileged in society. 208 people in Kanyama and Mandevu constituencies have received 200 blankets donated by Our Emadad Foundation from South Africa. More in the following report.
The continued support from the Muslim Society to the people in Lusaka district has elated the government because the community services rendered have positively impacted the lives of the people. Recently, the Muslim Society in South Africa donated 200 blankets worth 50,000 kwacha to 200 aged people in Kanyama and Mandevu constituencies.
Timabwera kwa kwambiri hapa kupasa kama different things hapa. Kudala tinabwera kupasa ka unga kapena Kanyama or something. But in ntawi ya mpepo timaenda kupasa ma blankets. Muslims wa South Africa soti amati tandiza kwa winango pa Africa wonse. So this year anachita collaborate. So anatipeleka katandizo hapa kwa business community wa Lusaka sote anapasa ndalama. So tinama kura ma blankets tinapeleka ku ma hospitals na gachinyunyu. But hii ma specifically lero ma blankets wamenya taleta hii ni ma donation ya ma Alimdadu Foundation.
This gesture excited Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu, who encouraged the beneficiaries to treasure this gift that has been given with so much love.
I saw UPND celebrating, I saw PF celebrating, I saw just mere people celebrating. That is the way it's supposed to be. In this country of one Zambia, one nation. That's the way to go. Let us learn to share. Osapisha balendo. Wakabwela balendo, tagabanako kakudya, simwamen. Ndiye example ya mene bati showinga aba bantu abene bati donate my blankets.
Mandevu Member of Parliament commended the Muslim Society and the government for their endless support in his constituency.
On behalf of the people of Mandevu, our mothers who are here, we are saying thank you so much to you and the government led by His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema. We are saying thank you, Mr. Mata, to the Amlidad Foundation and our local organization, the Muslim Social and Welfare Society.
And the beneficiaries could not hide their joy.
Tipempa kula president watu kuti wapitirize basambira ati amena enda musanga sambira minita tichwa bantu bangakambe balibena nchito isetinyirire basogona forward
abwerese iti muntu ati yayi onani vamena chita abwerese iti yayi omba mukatembeje rini mukayamikire rini.
Mijela Mwemba reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
And in education news, Siavonga District Commissioner Geoffrey Jacopo says over 900 desks have been procured for distribution to schools in the area. Mr. Jacopo says the district is eager to meet the presidential directive that no child should sit on the floor by the end of this year. We have more in the following report.
Inadequate desks is one of the challenges most schools in Siavonga district are grappling with most learners sitting on the floor. Currently, the district has a shortage of over 3,000 desks to close the gap on the desk requirements. However, government is working around the clock to improve the desk situation, with about 909 desks having been handed over so far.
The district, through the CDF, has already distributed 909 desks to all schools, especially those needy schools in the district. From the 900 that has been distributed so far, we still have a shortfall of 3,327 desks that are being worked on right now. I am speaking. When we are done with this, they will also be distributed. By December, we don't want any school child to be sitting on the floor or to be sitting on the blocks.
The Constituent Development Fund Committee is determined to address the shortage of desks in schools.
Have engaged the suppliers in the district, in the constituency, to supply 3,301 desks, which the suppliers are likely to start supplying this July.
In Siavonga District Planning Officer John Kauma also announced plans to rehabilitate all broken down desks in schools using school grants.
Our schools are also doing the rehabilitation through a sub-component of their grant. That is the money that is meant for infrastructure.
Kwengushe Pande, Zanis in Siavonga District, Southern Province.
In health news, Choma District Commissioner Sikalea Gamela has expressed delight that health facilities in the area are adequately stocked with essential drugs. Mr. Gamela says government remains committed to continue supply of drugs to health centers through the distribution of health center kits. He was speaking when he visited various health facilities to monitor the drug situation in the district. More in the following report.
Government has made steady progress towards ensuring that all health centers across the country are stocked with essential drugs. In Choma District, all the 35 health facilities have received health center kits. Choma District Commissioner Sikalea Gamela has visited selected health centers in the district to ensure the stocking exercise is successfully completed. Eche Katinjase and Rowa surgery clinics found patients walking away with drugs.
When we came in power, there were many shortages of medicine and health facilities, but we are now normalizing things. Going forward, we want all drugs to be available at health facilities, always.
And the District Health Administration has assured the District Commissioner of adequate stocking in all health centres.
Received health center kits in all the 35 facilities, which is meant to take us a maximum of 2 months of stock. We have seen that with the arrival of these health center kits, they have provided us with a wider variety of drugs to dispense to our communities, people in our catchment areas, which has reduced the need to go and source for medicines outside.
Received 2 kits of the medicine. From those medicine, all essential drugs are in the kits, and per day we are seeing about close to 80 to 90 patients.
The general public is grateful to government for the provision of essential drugs.
Ujinyira abantu bachihwa ntumbugira misamu turabweza tulirumbide oberesi wabahaga inde new doni iliberegede manindi.
Kalunga Msonda, Zanis News, Choma District, Southern Province.
The Health Professional Council of Zambia, HPCZ, is saddened that various universities and colleges in the country have continued to enroll students without full grade 12 certificates. HPCZ Registrar Faston Goma says the council has also noted with concern that some health practitioners are operating in health facilities with fake annual licenses. Mr. Goma, who is also HPCZ Chief Executive Officer, said this during a media briefing in Lusaka. More in the following report.
With its mandate to regulate the health sector, the Health Professions Council of Zambia, HPCZ, has noted with concern that various training institutions have continued admitting students in health profession programs without full grade 12 certificates. HPCZ Registrar Professor Faston Goma says to this effect, letters have been issued to concerned institutions to discontinue the training of students without full grade 12 certificates.
We have been to several institutions, and I must say that we continue to find a number of students in these institutions who don't have requisite O levels. Some of them don't even have adequate grade 12 certificates, and yet they have been admitted to these institutions, mostly because of their ability to pay fees. Now, I think for the health sector, this is a dangerous route to take. Health training is supposed to be a specialized training, and we would want to get on board people who are well qualified. And so we have actually gotten back to those institutions, and we have advised them to discontinue these students.
Professor Goma also noted that some health personnel and facilities have continued to operate with fake licenses.
A lot of people continue to practice in these facilities without licenses. In some facilities, we have actually found people with fake licenses. That is actually worse than one who is well trained and yet just doesn't have a license. So we are reaching out to hospital in charges.
Professor Goma announced that the professional licensure examinations will be conducted from 18th September to the 6th of October 2023.
And that is because this time all the papers will have a practical component to them.
Jane Simalumba, Zanis, in Lusaka.
And the Financial Intelligence Center, FIC, says the real estate industry is vulnerable to money laundering. Speaking during the presentation at the Zambia Institute of Estate Agents, ZIEA annual general meeting, FIC manager for compliance and prevention, Chaniona Lungu, says illicit money is now being invested in property. Ms. Lungu urged ZIEA to put in place measures where real estate agents can play a part in preventing illicit money flows within the sector. She added that the center's anti-money laundering framework places obligations that apply to the real estate sector, And Zambia Institute of Estate Agents chairperson Chileshi Musonda has bemoaned the mushrooming of illegal estate agents in the country. Meanwhile, Zambia Revenue Authority tax consultant Cholwe Chidoti said rental income tax is currently the obligation of property owners to remit to the authority.
What has been observed globally as well as domestically is that the real estate sector is vulnerable when it comes specifically to the issue of money laundering. Because what happens is that in many cases, when illicit money is generated or money is generated from criminal activities, that money is deposited into bank accounts, into many different financial systems, but it also is invested in the real estate sector. So you will find many reports globally. You will also note within our reports that we publish that a lot of the money tends to be laundered in the real estate sector.
Over the years, we have seen the mushrooming of many unregistered agents in the country claiming to be practitioners of estate agents. The law is very clear. One cannot practice estate agency in Zambia unless they are registered with the Zambia Institute of Estate Agents. There is no compromise on that position. The law is in black and white. So over the last few years, we've had some attempts by people to play around with that position. The position is very clear, the act is very clear. If you will practice estate agency, you must be registered. If you will claim a commission on a transaction in property based on estate agency, you must be registered with the Zambia Institute of Estate Agents.
Ensure that you have logging in credentials to access the tax online portal so that you remit your returns on time. So this is basically what I was mentioning earlier on. For rental income up to and including 800,000 kwacha per annum, the applicable tax rate is 14% of the gross rent payable. For rental income above 800,000 per annum, the applicable tax rate is 12.5% of the gross rent payable. VAT on commercial property is still applicable.
Now on GBV, Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, with support from the United Nations, has launched the minimum norms and standard shelter guidelines for survivors and those at risk of gender-based violence and human trafficking. Details in the following report.
Gender-based violence, GBV, and human trafficking are universal vices impinging on the rights of the survivors regardless of their sex, gender, age, and socioeconomic status. Government has taken measures aimed at fighting this scourge, such as establishing shelters for both victims of human trafficking and GBV for their protection and care. It is for this reason that the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services, in partnership with United Nations, have launched the minimum norms and standards for shelters for survivors and those at risk of GBV and human trafficking in Lusaka.
The country has witnessed a sharp rise in gender-based violence cases in our communities. This has been partly attributed to drugs and alcohol abuse and harmful traditional practices. The most hard hit are women and girls, and oftentimes children get defiled by their close relatives and members of their communities.
And United Nations Zambia Resident Coordinator explains the benefit of the shelter guidelines provided by government.
I'm happy to acknowledge the efforts of all stakeholders in the development of these guidelines. The guidelines, as we've heard, will enhance service provision and provide a safe place for the many victims that have suffered trauma, abuse, and require healing. The guidelines for shelter will enhance service delivery and will be a benchmark in achieving the objective of service provision for survivors and victims who always need the support and care during their life journey.
Ministry of Community Development and Social Services Acting Social Welfare Officer highlighted the shelter guidelines.
Minimum norms and standards of
GBV and human trafficking for temporary shelters is what is going to be a means to what we want, to what we desire, which is the well-being, the protection of the rights for the survivors. So now we have the document. I invite all of you to actively participate in utilizing these guidelines, in ensuring that the rights of these survivors are protected.
The minimum standards are expected to contribute towards the well-being of victims of gender-based violence and ultimately contribute to national development. For Zanis in Lusaka, I'm Mona Chibende.
And in Central Province, Japanese Organization for International Cooperation in Family Planning and the Parenthood Association of Zambia have launched a project to respond to cases of gender-based violence GBV in Kapirimposhi district. The 3-year project will see construction of a one-stop center and 2 safe homes for survivors of GBV to be implemented through a multi-sectoral anti-GBV task force, which has since been constituted. Carlos Bunda has more in the following report.
While no person should experience gender-based violence, evidence shows that the scourge is still widespread in Zambia. To combat GBV and improve care for its survivors, the Japanese Organization for International Cooperation in Family Planning, JOICEF, and the Planned Parenthood Association of Zambia, PPAZ, have joined hands to implement interventions to respond to cases of GBV in Kapirimposhi district.
JOICEF brought the project to reduce gender-based violence in Kapiri district together with PPAZ. To address GBV, we have 3 targets. One is raising awareness among communities. And the second one is providing GBV services at the one-stop center. So we are constructing one-stop center in Kapiri district. It's going to be the largest one-stop center in Zambia. And then third, we will provide professional training.
For PPAZ, transformational approach to GBV is the way to go.
Women are subjected to gender-based violence mostly in this country, and the problem is quite big. And equally, men are also affected by gender-based violence, though they don't normally come out to actually talk about this because maybe of shame, and also they lack the self-esteem to talk about these issues.
To push the agenda against GBV, the organizations have sought local partnership through the creation of an anti-GBV task force in the district.
What we are doing here is formulation of a anti-GBV task force for Kapiri district. And the purpose of this formulation of a task force is to enable us achieve the interventions of the project, which is aimed at prevention of GBV through care and community empowerment.
With the support that we've received from JOICEF, I'm sure this task force that we formed will be able to make sure that we do our duties that we're supposed to do in combating and reducing the number of GBV cases.
Carlos Bunda, Zanis, Kapirimposhi.
And Mwansabombe District Commissioner Rosemary Mwiche says safety measures are being put in place to prevent health hazards during this year's Umutomboko ceremony. Ms. Mwiche says the health office and local authority have intensified sensitization and mounted tents where various health issues are being addressed. Details in the following report.
This Saturday, on July 29, 2023, people from all walks of life will flock to the arena to have a glimpse of the Mwata as he performs his traditional dance during the Mutomboko ceremony. The annual ceremony has contributed to the increase in business activities in the Central Business District as traders from different parts of the country have seized this opportunity to cash in.
We came here for business. We are selling salaula. So far so good. The business is going, we can't complain, it's going very well. But they are saying that the business will be fine towards the final ceremony.
Baada kuambiwa kwamba kuna mtomboko kwa Mwata Kazembe, nikajipanga na mimi nije niangalie Mwata Kazembe ikoje. Lakini kwa kweli nimefika hapa pako safi kabisa, usalama upo, walinzi wako safi, tunalala vizuri, tunakula vizuri, bila tatizo lolote. Nimetandika, biashara yangu inaenda vizuri, haina shida yoyote. Kwa kweli Zambia kuko safi.
The situation is the same for those in the hospitality industry.
Mwanenge fyo muishiwe nishita mtomboko kwena uno mulungu business na ipusana konefyo tukwata business chinshikisha fumako bantu abantu nabafuma kunjendesha lekana ukuisa kuno kuisa sefya na ifo pa mtomboko.
Meanwhile, Mwansabombwe District Commissioner Rosemary Mwiche has assured that precautionary measures have been put in place to prevent health hazards.
We have so many traders, of course, from different parts of the country who are trading here. There are so many that there are some health hazards which could happen at any time. So far, we have put the health department is very much ready. The council have put up a facility at the market.
Lewis Changwe, Zanis, Mwansabombwe, Luapula Province.
That item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of stories that made headlines. Water shortage hits rural parts of Chadiza. Early distribution of fertilizer elates BRE. Choma DC happy with drug supply. And real estate industry vulnerable to money laundering. That's all we could package on this bulletin. On behalf of the entire production team, this has been Michelle Olubinda. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, it's bye-bye and God bless.